Some fermented foods are truly teeming with live bacteria. Others are basically just salty vegetables sitting in a jar. If you do not know the difference, you might think you are eating fermented foods for your gut health, when in reality, all you have is a salty, sour snack in your hand. Today, we're looking at 5 fermented foods that could make a real difference for your gut. But here's what almost nobody tells you. Fermented foods are not a miracle on their own. The moment they really make the most sense is when they're paired with fiber-rich foods, because the real formula for gut health is this: microbes plus food for the microbes. Stick around because I'll walk you through all 5 and exactly what to pair each one with. Fermented foods have become very popular in the world of gut health and healthy living over the past few years. But what exactly do we mean when we say the gut microbiome? To put it simply, it is a highly complex ecosystem made up of trillions of microorganisms living in our digestive system. But let's be very clear about one thing here. Fermented foods are not a treatment. They do not work the same way for everyone. And strong claims like probiotics fix gut problems are not very safe from a scientific point of view. And that is exactly the goal of this video, to explain fermented foods without exaggerating them, without creating fear, and without making them sound like something magical. So, which fermented foods can we practically add to our daily diet? What should we look for on the label? Which ones may be high in sodium? And why does it make much more sense to think about them together with fiber-rich foods? If you enjoy calm, science-based, and practical health content, do not forget to like this video, subscribe to Alinart Health, and turn on notifications. And also, let us know in the comments, do you already eat fermented foods regularly, or will today's list include something brand new for you? The biggest problem with fermented foods is this. Online, everything gets thrown into the same basket. Dairy-based drinks, salt-brined vegetables, soybean-based foods, fizzy tea drinks, dozens of completely different foods all get grouped under the same gut health label. But scientifically, there are 2 important distinctions. First, not every fermented food contains live microorganisms. For example, bread is also a fermented food, but most of the live microorganisms disappear during baking. Some pasteurized products may not have live cultures left either. Second, not every food that contains live cultures automatically counts as a probiotic. For a microorganism to be called a probiotic, it needs to meet 3 conditions. It must be alive, it must be present in adequate amounts, and its health benefit must be supported by well-defined research. That is why, in this video, we are not going to say, this food fixes gut problems. Instead, we will use safer and more accurate language. These foods may help support digestive wellness and microbiome diversity as part of a balanced eating pattern. Another issue is sodium. Some fermented foods are made through salt brining or salt-based fermentation, and while they may contain helpful compounds, they can also be quite salty. If you have high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart disease, or if you follow a special diet, it is important to ask your healthcare provider about portions and food choices. Also, pregnant people, people with weakened immune systems, those with serious chronic conditions, and older adults should be more careful with unpasteurized or homemade fermented products. Now, let's move on to the 5 fermented foods. Number 1. Kefir or live culture yogurt. First on the list is one of the most practical options, kefir or live culture yogurt. Kefir is a fermented drink, usually made with milk or certain plant-based alternatives. Yogurt, on the other hand, is already a familiar option for most people. The main point here is this: it is important to see the phrase live and active cultures on the label, because not all yogurt is the same. Some flavored yogurts may contain high amounts of added sugar, and that can make a product that looks like a healthy choice less ideal for everyday eating. Do you want a better option? You can go for plain, unsweetened yogurt or kefir with live cultures. You can combine it at breakfast with oats, chia seeds, blueberries or walnuts. And here comes the first small tip. When you pair a fermented food with a fiber-rich plant food, you build a much smarter plate. For example, plain yogurt plus oats, kefir plus chia, yogurt plus fruit and walnuts. This way, you bring together both the idea of live cultures and the fiber needed to feed the microbiome on the same plate. But if you have a dairy allergy, lactose sensitivity, or your doctor has recommended a specific diet for you, you need to act according to your own situation. Number 2. Sauerkraut. The second food is sauerkraut, meaning fermented cabbage. Traditional sauerkraut is usually made with cabbage and salt. During fermentation, lactic acid bacteria get involved and change the food's taste, texture, and microbial structure. But there is a very important distinction here. Not every cabbage pickle on the grocery store shelf is the same. Some are made quickly with vinegar, some are pasteurized, some go through heat processing to extend shelf life. These products can be tasty, but they may not offer the same thing when it comes to live cultures. If your goal is to get live cultures, you generally need to look for products sold in the refrigerated section with words like raw, unpasteurized, naturally fermented, or contains live cultures on the label. Of course, food safety matters here too. With homemade fermented products, clean containers, the right salt ratio, and proper storage conditions are essential. The best way to use sauerkraut is in small portions, 1 or 2 tablespoons next to a salad, on top of a legume dish, or alongside a whole grain meal may be enough. The goal is not to drown the plate in salt, but to add a small fermented touch, especially if you have high blood pressure or need to limit sodium. Portion size is very important here. Number 3. Kimchi. Kimchi is one of the best-known fermented vegetables in Korean cuisine. It is usually made with napa cabbage, radish, garlic, ginger, red pepper, and different spices. The strength of kimchi is not just that it is fermented. It is also a dense food that is vegetable-based and rich in aromatic ingredients. But the same rule applies again. Not all kimchi is the same. In some heated, pasteurized, or long shelf life products, the level of live cultures may be lower. Also, kimchi can be spicy, salty, and for people with sensitive digestion, it may cause gas, bloating, or discomfort. That is why the best approach for beginners is a small portion. Start with 1 tablespoon. Watch how your body responds. Then increase according to your tolerance. You can use kimchi alongside rice, whole grains, eggs, vegetable bowls, or legumes. But pay attention here. If you cook kimchi over high heat for a long time, it would not be right to expect live culture benefits. It can be cooked for flavor, but if your goal is live cultures, it usually makes more sense to add it later and without heating it. Number 4. Miso. Miso is fermented soybean paste. In Japanese cuisine, it is especially known for miso soup. The advantage of miso is that even small amounts can provide a deep umami flavor. That is why it can help make healthy meals feel more satisfying. But there are 2 important points about miso. First, miso usually contains sodium, so people with high blood pressure or sodium restriction should be careful. Second, miso should not be boiled. If you are aiming to get the most from live cultures or fermentation-related components, adding miso to boiling water and cooking it for a long time is not a good idea. A better method is this. Prepare your soup, turn off the heat, let it cool slightly, and stir in the miso at the very end. 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon of miso can be combined with warm water, tofu, mushrooms, seaweed, green onions, or vegetables. But again, our claim here is not miso fixes gut problems. The more accurate statement is this: miso can be used as a fermented soy-based option in a balanced diet, and for some people it may be part of a digestion-friendly routine. Number 5. Tempeh. Tempeh is a plant-based food made from fermented soybeans with a firmer texture and a good amount of protein. Unlike tofu, tempeh has a structure that is closer to whole soybeans. The fermentation process also gives it its own unique aroma and texture. There is an important point here. Tempeh is usually eaten cooked, so it may not always be right to think of it as a live culture source like kefir or raw sauerkraut. But that does not mean tempeh has no value. Fermentation changes the structure of the food, and tempeh can have a place on a healthy plate with its plant protein, fiber, and fermented soy components. It can be a good alternative, especially for people who want to reduce their meat intake. You can slice tempeh thinly and lightly cook it with a little oil, add it to your vegetable bowl, combine it with whole grains, or put it in salads. Let's be clear here. Tempeh is not a miracle protein, but in a balanced, plant-forward diet, it is a practical and nutritious option. People with soy allergies or special conditions such as thyroid disease or kidney disease should consult their own healthcare provider. Bonus: not every pickle is fermented. Now we have come to the bonus section. Not every pickle is fermented. This may be the most commonly confused point in the video. When you see a jar of cucumber pickles, do not automatically assume it contains live cultures. Some pickles are made with vinegar. This method can be tasty and safe, but it is not the same as live fermentation. Some pickles, however, are made through natural lactic acid fermentation. These products often have words like naturally fermented, raw, unpasteurized, or live cultures on the label. But again, portions matter. Pickles can often be high in sodium, so eating large amounts for gut health does not mean better. The smart approach is small portion, the right label, balanced plate. Now let's go back to the promise we made at the beginning of the video. Fermented foods are not magic on their own. The smartest gut health formula is this: fermented food plus fiber-rich food. Why? Because fermented foods can provide certain live microorganisms or compounds formed through fermentation. But to support those beneficial microorganisms in the gut, we also need fiber-rich plant foods. So it is not just about drinking kefir. Pairing kefir with oats, chia or fruit is a better idea. It is not just about eating kimchi. Thinking of kimchi together with legumes, vegetables and whole grains is smarter. It is not just miso soup. Adding mushrooms, green vegetables and fiber-rich side dishes makes it more balanced. So today's main message is this: microbes matter, but the food for the microbes matters too. The strongest routines for gut health usually do not come from one miracle food, but from small, consistent, and balanced choices. Today, we talked about 5 fermented foods. First, kefir or live culture yogurt. Choosing plain and unsweetened options may be better. Second, sauerkraut. If you are aiming for live cultures, you need to look for unpasteurized and naturally fermented products. Third, kimchi. It is vegetable-based and strongly flavored, but it can be spicy and salty. Starting with a small portion is better. Fourth, miso. It is a tasty and practical fermented soy option, but it is important to use it without boiling and to pay attention to sodium. Fifth, tempeh. Rather than a live culture source, it can be thought of as a nutritious fermented plant protein option. And as a bonus, we learned this: not every pickle is fermented. Pickles made with vinegar can be tasty, but they are not the same as live fermentation. This video is for educational purposes. It does not replace personal medical advice. If you are pregnant, have a weakened immune system, have a serious health condition, take regular medication, or follow a special diet, talk to your doctor or a registered dietitian before making major changes to your diet. If this video helped you understand fermented foods more clearly, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to Alinart Health. Write this in the comments. Which fermented food do you think is the easiest to start with? Kefir, yogurt, kimchi, or sauerkraut? If you would like to read today's research sources, you can check the references section in the description below.